What's going on, boys? Nugget here. Welcome back to another video. A new one. You've probably never seen this video on my channel, me doing a play review. I'm doing a play review on this player now. Honestly, this guy, I'll probably say in contention for being one of the best CDMs in the game, especially for the Premier League. You know, there isn't really anyone else better than him. I was looking at him and I was comparing him, in fact, to the likes of Kante. And you can see some of the footage on the screen, how crack this guy is. Now, this guy would rise, and I'll tell you why. It's because he's just so good in the ball. Now I'm just going to show you a couple of things. Have a look at this. So if we go over to Footbin over here, just have a look at this 1 second, right? So you can see that if we compare Kante and we compare him together now, there is a few things that are bad about this card. So you'll see a bit of this in the gameplay in the background, some of these clips. Now, the only thing that he lacks compared to Kante is that he does lack certain things. So for example, you can tell that his aggression is not 93. He hasn't got the top tier aggression that Kante's got. So when you're not controlling him, he's not going to get the ball every single time. You can also tell that his agility and balance, now of course it's much better than Kante's, but given the fact that he is 6 foot, he's not the most fluid as Kante. Kante just has that fluid movement. I'm sure you've used Kante before. Kante is very, very fluid on the ball. Now, he can still move. I'm not saying he can't move. With left stick dribbling, no L1 or R1, he's still very, very fluid on the ball, but he isn't as fluid as Kante. But the reason why I really like him is that he's tall, he's fast, can cut the pass lanes, and he's always in the right place at the right time. And you're going to see from some of these clips I'm controlling him, some of these clips I'm not. He's always in a perfect place. Now, one of my main gripes about Kante I've always had is that he's quite short. Now, of course, you can't have someone who's got good agility and balance and they're short at the same time. But this player has it. He's actually, I ignore the rest of the stats, right? I don't care about his dribbling. I don't care about his ball control. I look at his agility and balance, and he's too good. He's already too good as it is. You can argue shooting is on the same level as Kante's. The pace is much better. 83 sprint speed, you can notice that in the game. If you're running back, let's say, for example, you lose the ball and you're running back in the game, you can notice that he has that sprint speed boost compared to, for example, Kante, who's a much slower player. Now, Kante's always been a top tier card, but this card is a different type of gravy. And then if we scroll down over here, we go ahead to his passing now. I know you're looking at footage on the screen, but his passing is very, very similar to Kante's. I'll be honest, I've not noticed anything in particular. I think they're both average at passes. Then they're not amazing. They're not going to do some amazing passes, but as long as you face the player and then you make the pass, you're always going to make the pass successfully. He's done driven passes. He even scored a goal for me. He's actually really, really good. Now, shooting is terrible. Don't look at, people always look at reviews and be like, oh my God, he scored a goal for me. He must be some GOAT playing attack. Absolutely not. Look at the guy's stats. He's not good at shooting at all, but he's very good for everything else. If you're looking for a dynamic centre mid, someone that can play in that CDM role, I think he's a very, very, very good card. Now, in terms of his actual defensive stats, now, he hasn't got the best interceptions compared to Kante, but because he's taller, he appears to have better interceptions. Now, if it was up to me, I'd wish that for perfect CDM, he's 3-star, 3-star, but I would want medium-high work rates. That's high defensive work rates and medium attacking work rates, but high is perfectly fine. He's in good positions most of the time. I think the main thing that really puts him forward, I suppose you can say that elevates him, is that he's got good defense awareness. The 88 defensive awareness, or the marking stat, really puts him in favor, because when you have him on the cut passing lane, this is important, on the cut passing lanes instruction, he's a complete different card because he's always there at the right place. If you lose the ball, he's basically in between your opponent's striker and the person who's got the ball, and he's always there in the middle. So that's why I like him. He's perfect about that. The stand tackling and the slide tackling is not that important. Yes, Kante's got much better stand tackling and slide tackling, but a lot of players don't know is that if you press the tackle button, even with Cristiano Ronaldo, and you're right next to the ball, you're going to get the ball regardless. So I don't mind him having less interceptions than Kante, given the fact that he's taller. It probably makes up for it. His defense awareness is the same, and stand tackling and slide tackling are basically, I suppose you can say, irrelevant, I would say. Then it comes, I suppose you could say, to the physicality now. Jumping, of course, he's a bit taller and he's got better jumping, even better than Kante. The stamina, they're very much the same. Kante's got 97 and he's got 92. And the strength, he's got 85 in comparison, sorry, should I say, to Kante 72. So he's got the strength as well, as he does lack the aggression. Now, in terms of the chemistry style, now this card, I'm just going to go back to Footbin here for a second. Now this card, the way that I would see to play him is I would see him to play him in the 2. So if you're playing a 4-2-3-1, you want to play him in a CDM alongside. Now, I think his attack positioning, I can't really say this for sure, but I think his attack positioning and his defensive awareness, given the fact that he's high work rates, makes it smart enough not just to run forward aimlessly if you have him on balance. I've used him on balance a little bit, but he's actually quite good on stay back while attacking. Now, I would use him as a pure CDM. Someone who's on stay back while attacking. Someone to replace Kante with the likes of Vieira. Now, I'll be honest. Let's say, for example, you're running a hybrid team. So, for example, if you're running a team like mine, if you can't get him on 4 chemistry, let's say you can only get him on 8 or 6, I will still play him on 6. I think on 6 chemistry, he's still a top tier card. In fact, I don't think there's any other CDMs for his, I would say, price point. You do. So I have Llorente, for example. But Llorente is a top tier card, but he doesn't have that medium-high defensive work rates. This year, it's the most important thing to have medium-high work rates. It's so important, especially for CDMs. Maybe the only comparison you can say is Valverde. Now, if you compared him to Valverde, and there's only one gripe I had about Valverde, it's the same thing with Kante. Kante was a bit too slow for me. Valverde I preferred. He's high work rate. It's very similar to him. They're both very similar. And the reason why I liked Valverde, because he was fast. Yes, Onyeka, I think that's how you say his name. He's not as fast as Valverde, but he has that agility and balance. That is the most important thing when you're using the run and jockey, that agility and balance. So just because of that, he really goes to the forefront. I wouldn't see anyone using any other chemistry style. People are saying use a hunter on him. I see people, look, I don't expect him to be shooting. His job is not to go forward. If you want to use a hunter, be my guest. I see this really too. If you know you struggle with someone who sits very deep, and you struggle with pressure, and you struggle to get the ball going forward, there's 2 things. Well, there's 3 chem styles. Engine is actually not that bad because his defensive stats are already good as it is. So you can put an engine on him, get his agility and balance up, get his dribbling up, get his pace up, and also get his passing up. That is, of course, one option. The second option, which is, I would say, the most important option, is Shadow. Now, Shadow is probably the best that you want to do. I mean, obviously, he gets the defensive boost and he's got the pace boost. I can't imagine why you actually want to use anything else apart from Shadow, just because his job is a CDM at the end of the day, and his slide tackling and his stand tackling isn't the best. And of course, don't forget, Shadow gives 15 to slide tackling, and with slide tackle, he's actually quite good as well. Or I can see him on Powerhouse. Now, of course, you forgo the pace. I wouldn't really use him as a Powerhouse type of player, but of course, he's got the defensive awareness and stand tackling. Now, this is the thing that's going to shock you. Do you know where I'd actually play him? I'll play him in centre back. I would honestly play him in centre back because he's got the agility and balance, he's got the height, he's got the work rate, he's got the stand tackling, and he's got the pace. I would play him in centre back on 7 chemistry. I would truly do that because I think right now I'm using Walker and Wan-Bissaka. Yes, fullback, centre back still are very much the meta, as long as they've got high defensive work rates. I would seriously consider doing something like this, ignore Walker for a second, and playing him in CDM, in centre back or CDM. I think either one is fine. So I would say if you've got a top tier CDM already, put him in centre back. If you've already got a top tier CDM, you've got the likes of Vieira, or you're happy with Kante and Valverde, try him first with a Shadow and then move him back. But I would say, truthfully speaking, this guy deserves to be in CDM or centre back. And in terms of formation, look, in any formation he can play. There's no point in saying, oh, he can only play X formation, because that's a total lie. He can play any formation. Any formation you want to give him. You want to give him a 3-5-2, you put him in CDM. Can he play left mid, right mid, cam, striker? No. Maybe left mid he can get away with it, maybe in a 3-5-2, but I wouldn't play him there. So only CDM, centre mid, or I would say one on the back 3. That is the best place to play him, and that's where I'd fully would play him. Anyway guys, that's probably one of the most underrated players in the game. Thanks for watching, take it easy, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.